This is Gadget Stop 321, and in today's video I'm gonna put a common fountain pen recommendation to the test. A lot of times I hear fountain pen people recommending fine nibs to new fountain pen users that are going to be possibly using poor quality paper. And I use a lot of fine nibs, and in my experience, I don't know if that's entirely true. So I thought I'd do a little test here. I've got a couple fine nibs, a sailor medium nib, and a couple cross medium nibs. And I've got some very poor note paper here. And I've got a variety of inks. I'm gonna write on it with each one, see how it feels, and see what the bleed through looks like, the feathering and bleed through. I'm gonna start with my Sailor Progear Slim with Sailor Gentle Black, which seems to be a pretty good performing ink. Unpleasant, very draggy. A lot of drag, very unpleasant. And I'm not looking forward to this one. This usually seems to have more feedback than the Sailor. Platinum 3776. I guess I should have noted this was a fine nib. Well, this one doesn't feel as bad, surprisingly. This is also fine. Not pleasant, but not as bad as the Sailor. Okay, here's a Sailor 1911 medium nib. Much better. But the ink's really spreading out. Much smoother, but the ink doesn't look as good. Okay, here's a cross medium. The ink seems to really be spreading out. And that's Iroshizuku Konpeki. Okay. The fine nibs were unpleasant to use. I don't think that would be something you would want to use on a regular basis. The medium nibs felt better, but the ink just spreads out so much. It looks like you're writing on a paper towel. Let's see what kind of bleed through we were dealing with. Okay, the two fine nibs didn't bleed through as much, but they still bled through some. The medium nibs bled through a little bit more. So, in my experience, I wouldn't necessarily, I'll say this, going with a fine nib doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a more pleasant experience if you're using poor paper. I would recommend like a drier writing, maybe medium nib. I've had decent luck with my Platinum Preppy. Another pen that does surprisingly well on poor paper is my Pilot Pereira with the 1.0 stub nib. Surprisingly, it puts down a wide bit of ink, but it spreads it out. It doesn't put down much ink, so it tends not to bleed through. I've used a variety of inks on pour papers. So not necessarily a fine nib, just a drier nib. And it may take some experimenting because different papers are different. I was surprised. I thought the platinum would do much worse, but it was actually the Sailor fine nib that was the least pleasant. And like on most good paper, it's the platinum that is, more feedbacky. Well, I hope this video was helpful. If you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.